How many tries is it going to take you?
I don't know. Guess we'll find out. What if I just nail it? And what if we get so many more views now that we just have to cut Aaron out?
Well, you know what Paul McCartney did, left the Beatles.
He just becomes the editor for us now. He can be in the band. He's just not in the band. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Rake Your Position. Normally four lifelong friends sitting on the comfort of the couch, but now there's three. One, two, three. We are missing our host Aaron today. He has the sickness, down with the sickness, some would say. But we're going to carry on here. We're going to see what we can do. Hopefully he's back with us next week, but we'll find out. And sorry for the delay. We've kind of had the holidays going on, and then Aaron took a pretty insanely awesome vacation that we'll let him talk about next time he's on here. And then we've just had some other scheduling difficulties, but we are back. Gentlemen, how we doing?
New year, new me, new podcast. Season 2, here we go.
Is this season two? I would think that
I don't
this is
know.
the
Season 2 is probably
off
what?
season of season
Yeah.
one is still season one.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
season two will
But
begin in March, but I do like the enthusiasm.
yeah, I mean I
Also,
like where your head's at.
you said New Year, new me. My favorite meme of all time with the New Year's is, I'm sure you've seen it, the Sting, where it says New Year, same me, and it's Sting when he takes off the mask and it's just him underneath of it.
Yes.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. I know Corey's a big wrestling fan, so he probably understands that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Sting, the guy who dresses like um a bee, or he was in that movie with Paul Rudd, Ant-Man and the Wasp. That was Sting, right? Playing the Wasp.
yep, you
Um,
nailed it, dude.
I thought
Anyway,
so.
let's get back to baseball here. Kind
Get
of a
some
weird off season.
let's get some introductions in here.
Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry. I don't really know what to call myself, but I'll
Gotta
stick
let
with
our
Jay
listeners
Lee.
know.
I know I'll stick with Jay Lee the Rover slash the host this episode.
And kind of out of order, so throws me
I
off.
know.
But
He just wants to say his joke, so just say your joke and let's move on.
so I'm Joe, the groundskeeper, the thief who stole my personal diary has passed away. So my thoughts are with his family.
That might have been your best one yet,
That
man. Good
might be the
job. I
best
like
one
that
yet.
one.
Yeah. Do you look these up? Is this like part of
Go
your?
ahead. Go ahead. You're up next.
Sure. I'm Core the Stat Man, and there's a lot of little things that have happened,
hmm
and a lot of we I don't know if we all share this sentiment, but I did prior to this episode in our text chain that probably 2/3 of the people that listen to this don't care about a lot of these people that we're going to talk about today.
But we still
Um,
appreciate you.
Yes. So we are gonna just start off by going through. There's a big thing that happened. We're gonna save that until after all this, and then we're gonna kind of talk about the outlook going forward. But to kick this off, I'm going to just word vomit a bunch of names and the teams that they've went to, and then kind of open up the floor to everybody if there's anything that they thought was particularly interesting or want to discuss further. So without further ado, we have Lucas Giolito signing a 2-year, $38 million contract to the Red Sox. Some of these people have money attached to them. Some people don't. I mean, they all do in real life have money attached to them. I did not write down every contract. Uh, we have the Blue Jays signing Kevin Kiermaier and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, re-signing Kevin Kiermaier, actually. Mitch Garver goes to the Mariners. Frankie Montas goes to the Reds. Former Cardinal and Yankee Harrison Bader to the Mets. Kind of a shocking trade here, which was Robbie Ray to the Giants for Mitch Haniger and Anthony Disclafani. Yeah,
Nice. Nailed it.
I'm going with that. Sean Manaea to the Mets. Stroman to the Yankees. Breaking news. Do, 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 do. Uh,
We were
two
almost
years,
first to report
37
it.
million. Yeah, I had my guy, but passing just beat me to it. He's I
Dang,
know.
passing.
And then the last three, or no, there's two Cubs. The Cubs and Dodgers did a prospect swap, where the Cubs sent Jackson Ferris to the Dodgers for Michael Bush, and then some relievers. And then the thing that Aaron was going to be responsible for talking about was Chris Sale. In the agenda have Chris Sale traded to the Red Sox. He was traded from the Red Sox to the Braves, um, which was an interesting thing that I hope Joe just maybe has something to say about that because you did when it went down. And then you were there. You had some things
Which
to say to
sailed to the Red Sox?
Sale to the Braves.
Yeah. Did
Not
I have
wait.
some? Did
I
I have
mean,
some
you
things to
were
say? I thought I was
you were
like,
arguing with Aaron about it a
I
little
thought I
bit,
was
but
surprisingly supportive. Was I not?
uh, if that's what surprisingly supportive looks like from you, then I don't
Yeah,
know what not
I almost
Okay.
supportive
think
is.
I almost think one
No,
time to get our views up and more listeners, I
no,
think instead of
nope.
no, listen, hear me out. I think instead of doing a pod, we just release a week's worth of our text thread to the
I knew that's what you're
for the
gonna say. And
world,
the answer is
and just to kind of see the how our brains operate until we get on the film here. So,
see how fast
Yeah.
we're canceled.
well, that
I
too.
mean, we've said some things. Again, people have to listen to us for us to get canceled, I think. I think, we're putting the cart before the horse here. But
True.
the last one was, oh, I didn't even write his last name, which I should have because that's more important.
He's your boy now.
Uh-huh.
Shota. I didn't even spell his first name right. Shota Imanaga, uh, to the Cubs. I believe that was a 4-year, $53 million guarantee, kind of, with an opt out after the second year and an opt out after the third year, and a possibility that it goes to 6 years. Very complicated. Um, but yeah, so Jared, are any of those anything that you like, dislike, were surprised by?
Um, I would say liked and surprised just because like I want him to be successful and it just seemed like he just can't stay healthy and that's Bader to the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the dude's just electric when he's on the field, but again, he gets a few games in and something seems to go wrong. So, um, happy for him he gets to stay in New York because I know that's where he's from. So just in a different stadium there, but see what he can do there. And I think I mean, Joe kind of alluded to it right before we got on about the Stroman deal. Not surprised Stroman went to the Yankees, but for the amount and the length. So that one kind of surprises me there. But I mean, Yankees making more moves to make that rotation better. Um, so I like that there. And then Joe, what about you?
Yeah. So the the Stroman news dropped what 2 seconds before we started this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't really look at any other people's projections, but off the top of my head, thinking of Stroman, and I do have a photographic memory, so I've looked at his baseball reference page like probably 2 years ago, and I know his track record. Um, if I had to guess, I would have thought that dude would have got like 4 for 80 easy. And he's coming down with what, 2 for 37?
Yep.
And I know he had some injuries last year, but I think his arm is healthy. I could be wrong. So um, that one was surprising. Giolito seems to be trending downwards, so that's probably about where he needs to be. Um, I mean, he's still not old, so he could have 2 really good years in Boston and get another fat contract after that. The two Blue Jay guys, obviously, I've never heard of them because their names
Yeah, of
and their
course.
talent's not good. I think what is
Gold
Kevin
Glovers,
Williamson?
both of them, but you don't like defense. I forgot. You hate
Yeah, exactly.
defense.
Well, I don't hate it, but I guess I bet if I look up their batting stats, they're both about what 720 OPS.
That's probably generous, to be honest.
One that was surprising to me because I actually did look into it a little bit was Mitch Garver to the Mariners. The Mariners had to have the most output of catchers of anybody last year. So Corey, you're the stat man. Corey, you're the scat
Mm-hmm.
man. Corey, you're the
Shibidoo Bop.
catcher.
Yep.
You're the catcher, man. So before I go any farther, and I do have farther to go. I'm only maybe 3/7 of the way down my road here.
Sure.
Can you what was your thoughts on the Mitch Garver to the Mariners?
Um, I think Mitch Garver is basically a DH at this point. And he's okay. He had an 870 OPS last year, so I guess he's pretty well above average as far as a DH. I don't Jonah Heim, I mean, who was the Rangers catcher last year, won the Gold Glove. So tough competition there. And then they ended up getting Austin Hedges too, who's also a very good defensive catcher. So Garver, as far as catching, just didn't happen in um, Texas. I assume it will be similar in Seattle with Cal Raleigh there. Big Dumper is his nickname. You guys didn't know that,
He should hook up
dudes?
with Chris Duncan.
Well, Cal Raleigh's got he's hauling some junk in his trunk. That's for sure. Um,
Baseball.
but yeah. So I imagine, it's catchers have nice glutes. Put that
Oh
on a
my
t-shirt.
goodness. Okay, we got it.
Anyway,
Big fan of catchers. We got it.
yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Big fan of catchers and their glutes. Um, uh, I think the Mariners lost Teoscar Hernandez, who didn't make this list, by the way. He also signed with the Dodgers. Now that we're talking about it, Teoscar
Who
Hernandez.
hasn't?
Yeah. So I don't. I think Garver to the Mariners is great. I still have no idea what's going on in Seattle or what. They're just like, oh, let's get rid of these guys and let's bring in some guys that are a lot like the guys we got rid of, but they're different. And it's like, oh,
Sounds like
okay,
the Cardinals.
Jerry.
Yeah, and
Um,
I've tried to call in because I'm the insider for Seattle, and the phone line is
yeah,
just dead.
yeah.
No
So
dial tone, so I don't know what's going on.
weird. Um, so I don't think they'll do a lot of catching. But I think for a team that needs offense, it's a good spot. So that surprisingly, I took probably a lot longer than you hoped I did, but
Well, that
continue on
makes
with Mitch.
sense for the DH role. I was just looking at both their catchers last year, like raked. So I'm like, where? I mean, we know Seattle needs hitting above pitching, but you gotta find a place for him in the lineup. Just
Mhm.
looking at the rest of our list, we have to talk about. I mean, it's been nice to see and not nice to see at the same time. The Reds are making a lot of moves and a lot of, they're not going to sign the Juan Sotos and the Yamamotos and the Shohei Otanis, but they've signed a lot of like mid-tier guys. So kind of surprising to see them spend the money, and they were already decent, even though of course I watched their team and I'm like, how's these guys any good at all? Andrew Abbott, looking at you. Um, so it's
Right
nice to
on.
see a smaller market team be active. Not nice because they are in the Central, and the Central's pretty weak, and they could steal games from the Cardinals. Bader to the Mets, they're paying him like a starter, which
Can be if he's healthy.
I love Bader. It's hard not to love Bader, but you need to be healthy and good at baseball to be a starter, and he's lacking at least one of those things. Robbie Ray trade, that's
Which would
kind
you
of
say is more important? Healthy
Healthy
or
or
good
good
at
at baseball.
baseball?
well, I'm neither, so I don't know.
Well, which would you say he's lacking then? Health
Yeah,
or baseball ability?
I mean, to be honest, probably both. I don't think he makes enough consistent contact to be in the everyday lineup.
Wow, all right. Cross him off the list.
I crossed him
Sorry.
off. I crossed him off a long time
What?
ago.
I mean,
Sorry. You're unhealthy and bad at baseball. Rude.
okay. Robbie Ray, that trade, that's kind of trash for trash. Um,
Okay.
Teoscar Hernandez getting 23 million, which it's the Dodgers, so I think they just send a blank check to the players and they're like, just fill out whatever you want and we'll give it to you.
It's part of it's
Um,
deferred as well.
yeah,
8.5 of it is deferred.
over 10 years. Um, so I mean, that makes me wonder what somebody like Cody Bellinger's asking for, or any of these other bats, if Teoscar Hernandez can get 23 million.
It's the old Pawn
And
Stars episode where it's you can ask for whatever you want, but you're only gonna get what somebody gives you.
It's true.
that's true. That's true. And I know it's a 1 year deal. There's no bad 1 year deals, but if you're who's Bellinger's agent? Do you know? Is it what's his
I
face?
think it's
Boris?
Boris. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that Boris has signed. Like, I don't know if any Boris clients have signed this offseason. I don't know that for sure, but I know a lot of the people that are left are Boris clients.
And then I'll let you kind of talk about the Cubs pitcher, but the Chris Sale trade, I mean, I type so much ignorance through a text all the time. Maybe I've forgotten what I've said, but um, I mean, it's definitely high risk. I think there's a low chance that he produces. Uh, I mean, there's no chance he produces like he used to, and there's probably a low chance he gives you maybe 160 innings at like 3.8 ball. And I guess, you probably take that. I don't think they give up a whole lot to get him. Money's not an issue. They're built to win right now. Um, so I mean, I think I was pretty positive towards that trade at the beginning, at least. Um,
Uh, if I
but
remember correctly, there was a lot of similar talk about. I don't think you mentioned Mr. Glass, but I believe that was kind of in a similar vein of where your thoughts were.
yeah, I think I started positive, and then Cooney probably went a little too positive, which he tends to do. And I was like,
Probably.
okay, we need to rein this back in, and I started getting crazy.
Yeah.
But that's my hot take.
I mean, I found it. One thing, if you want me to read it, it's actually
Did
not
you?
terrible.
All right,
Yeah.
what's it say?
Aaron had sent us this picture talking about Chris Sale talking about the uh, healthies. He's been in off season quite a while. Then Aaron put, with a healthy Sale, Braves have the two best strikeout pitchers in the rotation plus Max Fried. And then Joe responded with, true, but that's about as big of an if as you can get. And then in quotations, the healthiest I've been and best shape in my career, quoting Chris Sale. So
Oh man, I
we'll
was
see. We'll see.
every off season.
Yeah, I think Pablo Sandoval said that as well a few times.
Uh, definitely.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'll piggyback on that and then maybe go into a little bit of the Cubs stuff, but like I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't know, like I think Sale would be the one who'd nix this more than anything, but if they do like an innings limit or like a hard pitch count on him throughout the regular season and basically try and because the Braves going into the playoffs last year, their pitching staff was beat up. Um, so I would imagine that that may be something that they've looked at this offseason as far as how do they do a better job of getting those guys ready to go in October. By October, in October, still going in October. I'm not sure how to word that sentence. Um,
Seems
but
good.
because if they can get like if you got four guys, if you got Strider and Freed and Sale and Morton or whoever, I mean, we even saw this past year that uh teams are throwing out three starters. Like it used to be, you'd go from a 5-man rotation in the regular season to a 4-man in the postseason. Now you're into a 3-man, and then you just kind of throw people out in game four and hope for the best. I think if they can have Sale, Freed, Strider healthy with that offense, like again, Aaron's not here, so I can speak a little bit more freely about this. I think that their team is still quite a bit better than the Dodgers team is. And the Yankees and all these other teams that are adding pieces, but they do have pitchers that can get hurt. And I think Strider has so far had a pretty good track record. He's thrown a lot of innings past 2 years, thrown a lot of pitches, thrown a lot of high velocity, high stress pitches. Um,
On a small frame, he
yeah,
doesn't look big.
got big legs, but it's got good
How are his-
glutes.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna ask about his glutes. They good?
I believe people talk about his quads. I think his nickname is Quadzilla. Um, but they've uh, they've got a really good team if they can stay healthy. But I mean, I think that's most Major League Baseball teams. I think the teams that usually win the most and come out on top are a lot of times the healthiest teams. Um, but
Yeah.
transitioning Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, I'm saying I think you nailed it with mainly just when Cooney's not here, we can talk about the Braves being good for a little bit
Yeah.
before his head gets too big. But I mean, that 1, 2, 3 punch, like if it's healthy, it's I don't know if you'd take a different rotation in the league right now. Um,
No. Yeah.
and then I mean, I think the best point too is I think they're better than the Dodgers, just like you said. Um, Position wise, I mean, I think we talked about when Shohei first signed, like 1, 2, and 3, sure is going to be scary on the Dodgers
Hmm.
with Mookie, Freeman, and Shohei, but like after that, it's kind of iffy. And then same with their rotation. I mean, we don't know if Kershaw's coming back. Walker Bueller, I think, is coming back from being hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then Shohei's not even pitching this year. And then you have Yamamoto, which again looks like a legit pitcher, but you don't know how that's going to transition into the major league. So I think there's a lot more ifs on the Dodgers compared to the Braves right now. So, um, well, yeah, it's just a
And
little,
and speaking of ifs, you're talking about road to the postseason and in the postseason. That's if the Braves make the playoffs. It's possible they don't.
Sure.
it is possible.
That's
Sure.
true. The Mets did sign Harrison Bader and Sean Manaea, so watch out. Um, yeah. So can we make a note to our editor to just kind of take this part out before Aaron listens to it?
Yep.
Okay,
Well,
perfect.
uh-oh. I think we got a problem there. But yeah, we'll definitely make that note.
Well, all right, we'll let him know.
Tell us
Um,
about your Cubs, Corey.
yeah, the Cubs, they did some stuff. Finally, very interesting. Not really. Um, kind of off the wall over here. But the thing that they just did today was a prospect swap with the Dodgers sending Jackson Ferris, who was their eighth ranked prospect, now the Dodgers' fifth ranked prospect, to the Dodgers for Jackson Ferris is a left-handed pitcher. To the Dodgers for um, they put him as a third baseman. I don't think that's a spot he stays, but his name's Michael Bush. Um, He is 26 years old and he's just never had a spot to play for the Dodgers. And I guess he finds a spot with the Cubs, maybe at third base or maybe at first base. We don't really have a guy at either of those spots right now. I'm still holding out hope that they sign Matt Chapman. And then you've got just this super defense infield. But um, yeah, I think he's a guy that, being 26 years old already, is expected to break camp with the major league team. Um, Kind of surprised. Like Jackson Ferris was pretty well regarded. Um, but so Jackson Ferris was the Cubs' eighth best prospect. Michael Bush is now third in their ranking. So looking at it kind of at that level, it seems like a better deal, but also depending on how you value pitching and first position players, especially a guy like Michael Bush who doesn't really have a defined position and he's not playing like a high defense value position like center field or shortstop or catcher. Um, I hope it works out. I hope he hits as well as people say he does. I hope he is able to get at bats, but it was an interesting spot, an interesting trade, and that's you don't see a lot of prospect for prospect swaps, kind of like that. I mean, not the closest thing I can remember is not a prospect for prospect thing, but whenever Pablo Lopez was traded for Luis Ariz last year, they were both
Yeah.
established major leaguers at that point, but it was like an of equal value sort of pitcher for position
Flip
player
flop.
sort of
Yeah.
thing. Um, so that was interesting. And then the big thing is and I say big because I'm really not that excited about this. The Shota Imanaga signing, left-handed pitcher out of Japan, actually started the championship game for Japan against the U.S. in the WBC. And he's good. I think he's projected as a mid to back end rotation guy, and I am glad that he seemingly got paid as that. I mean, he got he's 29 or I think he just turned 30. And he got a 4 year. What they're saying is a 4 year, $53 million deal. Um, and the Cubs after the second season can choose to turn that into a 6 year, $80 million deal. If they choose not to do that, then he can opt out after the second season if he wants to. And I think maybe after the third one too. Very complicated, but the big and small of it is he gets money, I think basically AAV similar to Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson. He's 30, considered a back into the rotation guy. I think he's got some unique stuff. Um, I think his fastball they say is kind of just moves in ways that most people's don't. So maybe that can throw people off. So maybe there's a little bit more upside than uh, Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. But because I feel like you know what 35-year-old Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson are giving you every day, where
So
this
you're
guy's
saying he doesn't throw a fastball right down the middle?
I can neither confirm nor deny that at this point. He may do that.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
No, I'm just confirming because that's what Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson are going to do. But anyway,
but I that was the first major league transaction that the Cubs made this offseason, and that was 2 days ago. And it's like I was about to give up, guys. Like it's just like we signed Craig Counsell to this huge deal, and it's like, all right, we're going for it. And it's like 2 months later, we signed it back into the rotation guy. So cool.
but
Thanks.
would you rather have that or what the Cardinals did, where they signed a whole bunch of people in the beginning and then we're just like, yeah, we're done. And it
And like
was okay.
say they're done. They're like,
Yeah.
we're kind of up
And
against the wall financially. Okay.
and I mean it's
Yeah,
Sonny Gray and the other two, but like I don't know. Whatever.
at least you had something to talk about. Like I because it almost was like we
Let's
weren't
give
even
them
hearing
something to
anything.
talk about.
Like they were in on Yamamoto for it seemed like a second, and then that was the only thing we heard about, and then we didn't hear about anything at all for 2 months.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm excited, and then, like Joe, I think you're gonna get to it here at the end, but there's a possibility that I still could get excited about some stuff. But
Yeah. And I always, the thing that's always served me best is just my eye and the talent it has to see what somebody has. So I'll reserve any judgment on this dude until I see him pitch, and I probably should because he's going to be in the NL Central and get to watch him throw. But from projections, the money looks okay. And
hmm
I mean, I don't wish him success because he's on the Cubs, but I kind of wish him success as well.
Thanks, nice of you. So, are you ready to talk about the big move, as they called it, I believe?
The big fish.
The big.
Richie
Um
Palacios to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, no, not quite as big as that, but close. Um, I mean, it's been a while now, like I said, since we've been on here, but we do need to just cover and kind of some crazy opt-outs in this. But obviously, we know Yamamoto signed with of course, the Dodgers. Of course, there's a bunch of deferred money there, but that just seems to be what the Dodgers are doing nowadays. But it is a 12-year, $325 million contract. Um, the cool and crazy thing is, I think these opt-outs are starting to get a little bit more like different in a way. Like
Yeah.
the clauses for the opt-outs. So I got an article pulled up here, but if he has Tommy John surgery or is on the injured list for a right elbow injury for 134 consecutive service days from 2024 to 2029, he would have the right to opt out after the 2031 and 2033 World Series. Now, if he avoids that time, he can then opt out after the 2029 and the 2031 World Series if he chooses to. Um, so kind of weird. I haven't really seen opt-out clauses for an elbow injury, but there's a first for everything. Um, it's kind of wild. There was something else in here real quick. Oh, if he also is traded after a World Series, he doesn't have a no trade clause. But if he is traded, he has the right to opt out after that subsequent season. So a team could trade for him, but then he has the right to opt out after that deal if he wants to. So you're really
Hmm.
taking a rental player at any time, which is kind of cool. But then he's also, and good on his agent, he's contract includes a full-time interpreter, personal trainer, and physical therapist. So and gets a hotel suite on all road trips and 5 round trip airline tickets each year.
I
The
wonder
perks.
because I know hotel suites is a big thing. Like the Dodgers have to be limited on their hotels based on like hotels that have enough suites to accommodate the guys who have hotel suite clauses in their contracts. They're staying at
Good
some
thing.
high ends.
I think the Airbnb.
Yeah, probably. It's just a big house with like 34 twin beds.
Airbnb. Um, but yeah, no, the Dodgers, sorry, making another big move, and so between two players, they spent over $1 billion. But of course, we know that money's all deferred until the end of our lifetimes, apparently. So I guess that's just how you do it. You don't have to pay it if you're dead, right?
I'm not sure about that, but um
Well, it seems like what they're doing.
yeah,
Um, any
maybe that's what they
thoughts,
think.
feelings, emotions with that contract, guys?
You want to go, Corey?
Sure. Um it was another instance where it seemed like this is where he wanted to go. Um
Yeah,
and I'm sure Shohei was helpful in that. But yeah, I almost got the feeling that even if I guess we don't even really know because like Shohei wanted to go to the Dodgers, that seems pretty obvious, and it seems like Yamamoto also wanted to go to the Dodgers. And I was gonna say even if Shohei wasn't at the Dodgers, it seems like Yamamoto would have wanted to go there, but it doesn't really matter because they're both there, so who cares? Um, because I think like the Mets, I believe matched the offer, or it sounded like matched the offer from the Dodgers, and then the Yankees. I don't know that they went up to the 325, but because I thought they might have been like 10 years, 300 or something like
I
that,
think that's the what they went up to. Yeah,
which is a higher annual value technically, but um, that there were teams in the running, and it just seems like he wanted to go to the Dodgers. So good for him. The Dodgers, I the one thing that again, here we go. The one thing the Braves can hang their hat on, a lot of these guys came from the Braves system. Like the Dodgers are just paying everybody all the time. And they've got a few guys. Like Kershaw is not under contract with any team right now. Um but Mookie was traded for, Freddie was traded for, um Shohei was signed as a free agent. Will Smith came up through the system. Max Muncy, I think for all intents and purposes, came up through the system. He didn't really, but he didn't play well until he was with the Dodgers. Um Like it's just like none of these people came from and like if you look at I know the Dodgers payroll is all crazy now because of the deferments and stuff like that, but like you see the contracts that the Braves are signing their players for, and then you see the contracts that the Dodgers are signing players for, and they are significantly different. And I don't know what's going on in Atlanta, but they're signing people for very reasonable deals for a long time. And then the Dodgers are
yeah,
paying people a lot of money still for a long time, but it's a lot of money. Um, I don't like I don't want to just sit here and compare the two teams, but I don't like the way the Dodgers are doing the things that they're doing. I, but I like that these people are getting paid. But it'd be nice to see interesting things happen for other teams in the league just to have more excitement spread. But I mean, it's also nice to have like a common enemy, which I think is what's happening here. Is we're creating, kind of the evil empire version two, West Coast.
true.
Um,
I
so
also wonder too on contracts if they, we hear all the time like, well, they match this. Like, I wonder if they just mean like number wise. Because like, do you think a team's really gonna like? There's a lot of like perks in that deal. Like maybe
mhm.
the teams are like, we'll match the money, but like we're not gonna match those opt outs for your elbow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder like when people say we matched it, do they truly match it, or are they just matching the money? Which we'll
Good
never
question.
know. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, Corey. Well, I have a few thoughts, and then I just thought of another one.
Uh-oh.
So,
Shocker.
yeah, could be completely off the wall, but Corey said something, and you've said this in the past, I think about maybe Shohei or somebody. You said it's like they wanted to be there. Is that how you word that? Like they knew where they wanted to go all along
Yeah.
and they got there. So that made me think, makes me wonder. So let's say,
How I keep from going under?
If that's a song or something, I don't know what it is. Sounds like
Uh,
some awful early 2000s punk rock song. Um, am I close?
I don't even know. What's it called? I don't know who sings it. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. It's
Yeah,
like a
good
jungle.
name.
Sometimes it makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Anyway, so let's say one of us are going to play. Let's say one of us are going to play in Japan.
All right,
Let's
me. I'm going.
say let's say one of us is going to play in England. Let's say the other
Oh, never
one,
mind.
let's say the other one, he didn't get any offers. He's not going anywhere. I'll let the listeners decide who they think's got the opportunities.
I'm going to
But
Japan. Corey's going to UK. You didn't get any offers. We just nailed it
Yeah.
dang.
because you
So
rejected all of them, is what I'm saying. Holding out for the big
I'm,
deal.
I'm
He didn't
holding
he didn't get a
out.
suite in his contract.
So just off the top of your head, what do you think of when you think of Japan?
Bonsai trees.
Okay. No, that didn't go where I wanted it to. There's a very few select cities that we think of or we even know in Japan, in London,
Oh,
and the big
got
ones
you.
come to
Okay.
mind. So, I wonder how much that as a kid in Japan, you probably grow up, you hear Los Angeles, you hear New York, maybe you hear Chicago, right? So I wonder how much of that is baked into just like the nurturing of them as a growing individual or baked into their psyche of, oh my gosh, I got a chance to play for LA. I got to play for LA. Hey, we got a pretty good offer here from the Houston Astros. Well, what the heck is, where's Houston? What the heck is Texas?
What is an Astro?
What is an Astro?
No, what is a Dodger though? We had this discussion already.
Yeah, but you still always heard of LA. You've probably heard of the Dodgers. So I don't know. That's just a random thought I had, and I bet it maybe has a little more factor into it than some think, and maybe not as much as I'm thinking. But food for thought, listeners, and Corey and Jay Lee and Aaron. And then yeah, I was looking at a list of total money spent by the teams this offseason, and obviously, if it was a pie graph, it would be 98% blue, and then all the other colors squeezed into that 2%. They've just spent so much money. And then I also randomly came across an article where uh, I'll probably get this word wrong. Corey, maybe you can help me out. The person, the government official of a state, the comptroller, am I saying that right?
Comptroller?
Comptroller, they're like um the head guy on taxes or whatever, or maybe whatever that is. And he came out saying um that they need to change the laws. He never directly said like the Dodgers or Shohei Ohtani, but he's like, we're seeing all this deferred money and there's no limit on it. There's no limit on how much money you can defer. The person leaves the state and they don't have to pay that income tax.
Hmm.
So I thought that was kind of funny. Everybody's talking that and knows that that's a big part of it. And I don't know. What else did I have to say on that? I don't know. I hope he's good. I'm anxious to see him pitch. And it always seems like these Asian guys maybe bring a funky pitch or a funky delivery or just something a little unique that makes it exciting to watch him pitch. So 12 years, man, that's a big contract. One more thing. Sorry, I'm
Uh-huh.
talking a lot here. Um, all these opt-outs, and I wonder if the club, and I'm sure they're not because why would the players sign it? If there's so many opt-outs for the player, is the club like baking into this contract like, okay, if your elbow blows up, we get a little protection here as well. And maybe there's outside protections against that I'm unaware of, but it just
I think
seems
there's
like
insurances that you can have on contracts.
Yeah.
I've always heard
But
that.
seems like sometimes that might not happen in like Strasbourg
Hmm.
recently. There's been some discussion about maybe how the Nationals didn't have any at all, so they are still paying the 200 and whatever million dollars to him, and I think he threw like 8 pitches after he signed that contract.
Crazy.
Which is that's I made that up, but
It's super low, yeah.
I mean we had the whole discussion of how many pitches could we throw if we got $100,000 for a pitch. That's on a podcast somewhere, and I think we all agree that until our arm falls off, we'd keep throwing pitches for $100,000 a pitch.
Heck yeah, I'd figure it out.
How many throws
But
does it take to get to the center of your labrum? That's the question.
Well, it depends on how hard I'm throwing. If it's Cooney, it takes one throw.
yeah, um,
Um, but anyway, any other discussion on that, guys? Or I think we've kind of wrapped that up.
yeah, I think so. Joe, do you want to
Cool.
talk about
Yeah.
what's left out there for the
Take it
peasants?
away, Joe.
The evil empire has shifted from the East Coast to the West Coast. All right. So I was kind of surprised the other day when there's been a lot of noise in the sense of big signings. Shohei, Yamamoto. So there's been plenty of noise, but there's still a lot of guys out there. So I was kind of surprised. I had looked at a few different sites, a few different lists of, top 10, top 15 free agents headed into this offseason. And there's still several left. I do have to mark. I made this list a couple of days ago, so I do have to mark Marcus Stroman off here. Marcus Stroman off?
Ooh,
He should
You
get into
better
the
get in the
pasta
business
business.
now. Yeah.
I thought he was Russian.
Or
Stromanov.
the vodka business, whatever.
Yeah. I bet he's already in that business. But so I still got five names here who I think we could for sure put all five of them in the top 10 of free agents. Um so I guess let's just go one by one. Well, maybe I don't think we did a huge prediction show at the beginning of the free agency. Maybe we did, but with some of the moves that have happened, we'll just go around and maybe say what you think, maybe say where you think they'll end up. I'll just whatever thoughts. But um, number one on my list, and maybe I have him a little high because he's a relief pitcher and they're kind of like the kickers of the MLB. But I love this guy. It's Josh Hader. He is 29. He may have just turned 30 as well, but he had a monster season again last year. Yeah, 1.28 whip. No, wait, 1.28 ERA, 1.1 whip, 13.6 Ks per nine. The dude does not give up hits. I mean, his walk per nine is too high, but um, foreshadowing when we get to our our all-time fantasy draft, hopefully next week, his name may pop up again. But so I think he'll definitely get paid. Who that'll be, I'm not sure, but what are you guys' thoughts on Hader? And do you, with any of the moves that have happened so far, do you see him going somewhere else than you initially thought, or what?
Boy, what did I initially think? That's the good question. It's 1,000. Let me pull up my free agent predictions. I didn't know we were gonna put on the spot here. Um, Peter, where did he fall in this? Oh, he's definitely above Jordan Hicks. I'll tell you that. Oh, eighth. I had him going to the Phillies.
Do you have that information somewhere?
Did you fill out the MLB trade rumors predictions? I have what we said also, but that would be where you could find it yourself. But
Yeah, where's that at in the drive?
uh, 20, is that it? This is riveting for everybody who's listening. Let's see.
Hold
Is
on
it
with us,
in this
listeners. Hold on.
folder? Is it in this folder? Let's see. It was it was one of the first episodes, right?
I don't think I filled all that out.
Wow. You
Yeah,
guys
we
had
did.
one job.
So I'll just give you my predictions off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
Jay Lee.
We wrote them down somewhere. Yeah, somebody else riff while we
Yeah, Jay Lee.
instead of
What
just mumbling to ourselves.
Hater? What do you think? You watched him pitch with the Brewers plenty.
Yeah, dude's nasty. My heart wishes that he'd be in St. Louis. We talk about wanting to shore up that bullpen, but that ain't gonna happen.
You did
Um,
have him going to St. Louis.
I
found
know. I
it.
had a lot of people going to St. Louis.
You sure did. Joe, you had the Red Sox, and I had the Phillies. Aaron had the
Gotcha.
Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's going to change for me now. I, I think Corey nailed it on this one.
I hear the
I see.
Rangers a lot, so Aaron might be.
Yeah, I mean, I hear the Rangers too,
But
but
I think the Phillies would be a perfect fit.
The Phillies haven't done much.
I know.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying too.
Episode 31. For all the listeners who want to go back and listen to us make our predictions. Um, because I know you just can't get enough.
just can't get enough.
Just skanking.
Um, I like the Phillies. The Phillies, I mean, they re-signed Aaron Nola, so that is a pretty big deal. Outside of that, I think they still need some pitching help. I still would love to see them. I mean, any of these pitchers that you talk about, I think the Phillies would, any team would probably like to have them. I think the Phillies would especially like to have them. So, um,
Well, and the Red Sox still haven't spent very much money. There's a outside chance he could end there.
I don't think they're
are the Red
doing
Sox
anything.
trying to sign anybody?
I don't know. I mean,
Says
they're
Lucas
not.
Giolito.
They always spend money.
True.
Well, listeners, let us know where you think haters at. And Josh, if you're listening, if you want to come on and
Yeah, just talk it out with us.
yeah, we have some ideas, Cardinals. And next up on the list is this guy's name's mentioned like 6 times a podcast because somebody thinks he's Brooks Robinson. Um,
Wow.
this guy plays third base. His name's Matt Chapman. He put up a rather pedestrian 17 for 54, 240, 330, 424 slash last year. I do think he's a solid player, but I think one of our members here is a little more in love with him than I am. But um, yeah, any thoughts on old Matty Chapman still being unsigned and where he may end up?
Corey, take it away.
Still would love to see him go to the Cubs. He hits okay, plays a really good defense. I was trying to look up his baseball savant page before you just kicked it over to me.
Oh,
But
he's in the 98th percentile of barrel on bat velocity into the ground. No, I mean,
excuse me?
Yeah,
Is
that's a
that
stat they keep now. That's awesome.
did they just add that? Um, but
Mine would be off the charts.
well, again, because I don't think the Michael Bush deal that the Cubs just made really prevents them from doing anything because they need to fill both corner infield spots and he could play in either one. I think it gives them a little bit of flexibility if they miss out on somebody. Um, I still would love to see him go to the Cubs. I forget the team that it seems
what
like a lot of people think he's going to go to.
what does he give you that is Wisdom not a third baseman? Because Wisdom
He
is putting up this exact same line.
I don't think Wisdom plays defense particularly well.
Fair enough.
So I think like I don't know if you've ever not this is going to be a very extreme example here, but it is fresh in my mind based on the exercise we did to prepare ourselves for this episode that we're not doing. Um, but if you look at Tony Gwynn and Wade Boggs side by side, um, their offensive numbers are relatively similar. I think Tony Gwynn's are a little bit better than Wade Boggs. Both are low power, high average guys. Wade Boggs has 92 WAR. Tony Gwynn has 69 WAR. And that is because Tony Gwynn was a below average right fielder. And Wade Boggs was an above average third baseman. So like there's 30 or there's sorry, not 30, 20-ish WAR there difference just based on Wade Boggs' defensive ability. So again, I'm not saying Patrick Wisdom is Tony Gwynn and Matt Chapman is Wade Boggs, but
That's
there
the only
is
thing I took from that.
yeah, there is kind of something just to kind of try to prove my point about defensive value is I think that there's significant upside defensively for Matt Chapman compared to Patrick Wisdom.
Fair enough.
All
I had
right,
him
we
going
should
to the
go.
Dodgers if they sign Matt Chapman. Oh my goodness.
I mean, they'll just defer it.
I don't know what I had. in the agenda, and I'm done. I'm not going
Think
back
of
to
the Blue
that.
Jays. Going back to the Blue Jays.
Well, good, because that was the same thing I was just gonna say. He's going back to the Blue Jays. I still believe in that.
All right. Next on our list is somebody I've never liked. He was worth 4.1 WAR, still young, pitched well in the playoffs, going to get paid, I think. But Jordan Montgomery, 3.2 ERA, 1.2 WHIP, based on balls to walks was a 2.3 to 7.9. Not a strikeout guy. I don't like these pitch to contact guys anymore. But who did I have him going to? I had him going to the Rangers. I think that's maybe still a possibility. Um, I don't know.
Jared
He's
also did.
I mean, I think the next pitcher I'll talk about, I would have over him, but you could make a case that I don't think you can make the case he's better than Snell, but he's probably the second best pitcher left on the market.
This is where I hedged my bets in reference to the next pitcher you're going to talk about, where I had them both going to the Phillies, and I just talked about Josh Hader also going to the Phillies. Um, I I'll stick with it. One of these guys. Well, so the Phillies need to sign somebody. I think. You know, whether it's any of these, and I like so, and the Rangers probably get the other one, or that would make the most sense to me. Um, I just like his stock skyrocketed so much. I think exclusively from the playoff run. It's good for him, but he makes
He's
me
pretty
nervous.
good.
He's okay. I mean, he's doing okay with
He
the
was pretty good in the
Cardinals.
playoffs.
He was very good in the playoffs. But, it's just what are you going to get? The other, I
It's
guess the
true.
other 90% of the season doesn't really matter if you make it to the playoffs, but
You sit him until
uh,
you get the playoffs.
yeah, sorry, Jordan, just take a seat.
I know
Easy
we paid
money,
you 100.
baby.
We paid you
Game
100.
one of the playoffs, though, the ball is yours.
We paid you 100 mil, but we're just gonna need you to sit down for a minute. Uh, I think he goes back to the Rangers.
It seems like that's maybe the most
As
likely
for
spot.
like a lot of these free agents, I think what they're finding out is some teams aren't going to pay you what you think you are worth, and unless I don't know, we're missing something right now, but I think a lot of these players are going to go back to the original team because they're going to get somewhat close to a deal, but not quite what they were expecting.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you call them overpays because they're really not, but like the only team overpaying for players is the Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's been no other deals where you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they gave this guy that deal.
Well, and I wonder if it's a matter of perspective. Like if the Dodgers weren't signing these ginormous contracts, how would these others look in a different light? Like, would we think these are
Yeah.
overpays? But like seeing these, comparing them to the contracts the Dodgers are paying, like they don't look that bad. But also, 37 million, like it's nothing to scoff at. 38 million. I spent like Lucas Giolito 2 years, 38 million, and he had a 7 ERA over the past 2 months last year. Like we look at that and we're like, oh, that's not that bad. But in
In
comparison to
hindsight,
700
for
million,
Yeah, paying
Hmm.
almost 20 mil a year for a 70 ERA.
Well, let's get into the guy. I believe he won the Cy Young, right?
it's correct. Your
Which
favorite.
which made his second. Um, if he took a 1 year, $2.5 contract, I'd sign him. But this guy, Blake Snell, 6.0 WAR, it's decent. 31 years old, 2.25 ERA, 1.18 WHIP, unbelievable. He was able to maintain that. 5 walks per nine and an 11.7 Ks per nine. So, I mean, I guess there's multiple ways to do it. He proved it. He got a Cy Young off not giving up hits, but I think as Steven Tyler once said of Aerosmith, you're living on the edge, walking so many guys, especially in today's league where it's like a babushka bomb gets you out of the game quick. He'll get paid, I think.
I think Van
Probably
Halen also said, "I've been to the edge."
that's true. Mr. Roth did say that.
Yeah,
He stood there and looked down. Lost a lot of friends. Too many walks, and you know what I do. So
Okay.
I can see something like, I don't know. I'll throw out like 4 year, 100 milli for this guy. Probably with no stupid contracts getting thrown out. I guess that would be my maybe my floor.
I think it's almost going to be more now since Giolito just signed. I mean, you're almost paying him the same thing for 4 year, 100
Yeah,
mil.
I think it's got to be like I bet it's 30 mil a year. Maybe for like it might be 4 years,
I
120.
mean, not from Joe's bank account. He's not getting that.
Hey, I just threw my offer out there. If he wants it, he
Yeah,
can take it. But and there's
play
gonna
for the Milton slow pitch softball team.
be oh man, definitely can't have walks and slow pitch.
Oh,
You
he's playing left center, man.
No, I got Big Poppy in left center.
know.
Where's he going, Corey?
Blake Snell. I don't I'm interested mostly
Supposedly
if
there's an offer from the Yankees. That was rumored
is
today.
there still, or is Stroman made that not happen? Because
I
like
don't know.
Cole,
Did
Cole,
he decline it?
Cole Snell Stroman is pretty good. I feel like they got other people that I'm not remembering right now.
Rondon, he's always
Yeah,
healthy.
Rondon, Rodon. It's not. There's no N in there. Rodon. There's an N at the end. There's not an N in the middle.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not related to him.
Okay. Um, I mean that's a pretty good 1 through 4 if they can stay healthy again, which is the theme of this show. Um, where's he going though? You know what? Let's go. The Mariners have freed up some money. Maybe he goes out to the Mariners. I just don't want to say the Phillies again, so going to the Mariners.
You're going to the farthest possible away team.
Yeah. Yep.
All
To the
right, fair enough.
Mariners. Blue Jays, maybe? I don't know. That might make sense. I'm
Sure.
really good at this,
I
guys.
don't know.
Maybe the Tigers.
I
All right.
Maybe.
And
no.
rounding out the who's who of who's
Did
left.
Jared say where he was going?
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Wow, dude.
Where's he
You even
going?
want my guess now?
Where's he going, Jay Lee?
The Cardinals.
He's not going to the Cardinals. The Cardinals said they're done forever. They're never making another signing deal ever. They're only drafting players.
You initially
Um,
had him going to the Padres.
Yeah, I know. And I think that is done. I do think he wants to stay on the West Coast, hence why I think he turned down the Yankees offer. Um, so I'm gonna pick Oakland. No, I'm not picking Oakland. Um, I think the Giants make a move. I know they just traded for Robbie Ray, but I think they can do something here.
The Giants need to do something.
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
know.
say it'd be a
I'm going with the
splash they
Giants.
need.
All right.
All right, now you can
Probably
move
better
on,
than the
Joe.
Mariners. Yeah.
All right, last but not least, bringing up the train, the last person here who I don't like them either. Just throwing that out there. He put up a 4.4 WAR, 28 years old. Very let me think of the word. Let me think of the word. It enigmatic. Listeners, let's look up the definition. That might not even be close. Difficult to interpret or understand, mysterious. Okay, I think that works. His name's Cody Bellinger. He kind of fizzled, I think, towards the end of last season, but still put up a 26.97, 307, 356, 525. Was that mostly out of the leadoff spot, Corey?
Oh no.
No?
Um,
Am I making that up?
yeah. I think he was somewhere between 3 and 5.
Okay. Um, probably make a case that he's the best bat left on the free agent market
Who
anyway.
would be the other option?
I don't know, your boy Chapman.
Well,
Hey, Oscar, even though he
the
signed,
Oscars.
so
Yeah,
he's
so he's
done.
not there. He's not left.
Oh, okay.
JD
Um,
Martinez, your favorite. You watched him play in real life.
yeah, he still put up monster numbers last year. I don't know how. He moves like, let me think.
Reese Hoskins is still out there.
That's true.
So what are your thoughts on Belly Belly?
Boy. I mean, we there's a team, and I don't know that we have not talked about. That's the Angels. And they still have Mike Trout, and they still should try to win. Um, that's a team that I could see any of the last few pitchers we talked about going to. So maybe I should have said that for Blake Snell as opposed to the Mariners. At the same time, I think Cody Bellinger could make sense. Like they've not spent any money and they have Mike Trout and they should try and win. Um, I keep hearing things about going back to the Cubs. Maybe. I, I, I think we share a similar sentiment that he's not going to put up the numbers that he did last year, and there's going to be a pretty significant overpay. So I wouldn't, if the Cubs sign him, I'll still be happy about it. I wouldn't be super thrilled, but um, I think the Angels get somebody just because I think they need to. I mean, I don't know that we can call Mike Trout the best baseball player in the world anymore, but he's still very, very good. I mean, Shohei, when he's able to pitch, I think is pretty easily the best baseball player in the world. But um, so I'm gonna go Bellinger to the Angels. Just
I like
different
it.
than my Guardians pick, which was kind of which
Ditto.
Aaron did say the Angels, so yeah, I guess I'm basically Aaron today. I think is what's
I had the
was
Giants. I could still see that happening. I don't know. Can you name a guy off their offense?
yeah.
Okay.
Casey Schmidt.
Yeah, very long delay as I watched your eyes and
I was
fingers
gonna
move.
say Brendan
Keyboard.
Crawford, but he's not there anymore. I don't think.
That's the
Um,
guy I was gonna say too. I'm like, I don't think he's there.
That's the only guy I could think of, and because he's been there
Car
for 20 years.
no Mike
Carl
Yastrzemski,
Carl
not
Everett.
Marquise Grissom, Ray Durham, Benito
Um,
Santiago.
See, they need some guy. They need some guys on offense, so I'll stick with my Giants pick.
Yeah. Well, you're both wrong.
He's going back to Chicago, and I'm even gonna give you the contract.
Okay.
7 years,
Ooh, who?
175 mil.
That's about what Dansby got.
Lock it in.
Eh,
I mean, I wouldn't want to lock it in, but
Well, lock it
it's
in.
25 a year.
I mean, by the
All
end of the
right.
contract, you think, this is the money that everybody gets nowadays, but 7 years, um, I don't know,
I mean,
maybe.
28. Sometimes you're
Seven
paying these
seven years
people
is
when
not
they're
bad, really.
on the wrong end of 35.
Like pitchers for the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's when the Cardinals start extending
You
him.
know, there's this phrase called TBD. So just think about that before you talk too much.
To be
Huh.
determined.
To be
I'll think.
determined. So you
I'll
don't
think
know how
about that
you
for
don't know how
sure.
these 42-year-old Cardinal pitchers are going to do.
I think I can tell you.
I know how they
Anyway,
did
thanks for
last
that,
year.
Joe. Yep.
Hey, Drew Smiley started the season last year like 10-0 with a .80 ERA, and that was a joke.
You know what? Just mark Drew's name off the list too. Come on, Joe. We gotta have somebody on here
Anyway,
sometime.
Thank you for that, Joe. That was good.
Yeah,
That was good to
yeah,
see
yeah.
who I know we've had some people sign, and it's good to see who's left out there. I know our predictions might be a little bit different now, but still the same. Still some the same, some not, but that's okay. Anyway, anything else, guys?
All right. I think that's it.
We've hit on it a
Never
little
mind.
bit, but it is going to be it. We've hit on it a little bit, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun with our next episode. Don't want
Don't
to.
we talk next episode is Hall of Fame.
My goodness.
We talked about this before this episode.
Okay, well, I'm still going to talk. I'm still going to say this is coming at some
Okay,
point.
that's fine.
The discussion of we're all we're gonna do a draft of every player available. So be thinking of maybe your
Anybody who's
big
ever played in MLB, anybody.
anybody who's ever played. Um, be thinking of maybe your big board. You know how these teams craft that during the draft exercise, and you'll have fun with us because we're all looking forward to it.
I thought about suggesting to do a fictional player draft, but I just don't know that there's enough people there. Like you get Benny the Jet, and you get
You mean like Pablo Sanchez
Willie
from
Mays
Backyard Baseball?
Hayes. Yeah, or that. That's
Hey,
too.
you may be onto something there.
Yeah,
I
we
think
can
we
we
could
can see
figure
if
it
we think
out.
that'd be enough.
I thought you were gonna say like you get Jerry from the Baptist Church and he plays first
Hey,
base.
Oh man,
I
watch
think you could
out!
add that in. I think you could put
Watch your
that in
heads,
there.
everybody.
First overall.
Man,
Yeah, it's
Shout
a
out
little
to
bit looser
shout
interpretation,
out to
but
Jerry. You know,
yeah,
what a beast.
I was afraid.
Anyway,
On his team, I
oh,
was afraid.
yeah, we played with him and I was terrified. Anyway, Corey,
Yeah.
where can they find our lovely podcast at?
Yeah, so you can find it wherever you're listening to this now. If you're listening to this, congratulations, you've done it. Um, we're on YouTube. We are on Apple Podcasts. Hopefully, other places you find podcasts. We have merch on Etsy. If people buy enough merch, we can go off Etsy. But as of right now,
One step at a time.
yeah. There's shirts. I think there's going to be a new shirt, something along the lines of "Catchers love their glutes" or something like that. I forget exactly what I said. I'll listen back and we'll put a cool shirt up that nobody will
I'd buy
buy.
it.
Okay, well maybe
I
Jared
buy
will.
it.
Um, we'll have to figure out exactly what that was, but we'll get there.
I wrote it down.
Cool. So go to Etsy, and I'm sure. Let's just do this experiment again to see what happens if you search "Rake Your Position" in Etsy and see if that takes us anywhere. Good. Ooh, the mug's there. So the mug is the second one. Ooh, the first one is a love position selector dice.
Yep.
And then the second one is our mug. So make sure you click on the second one
Maybe the
and
mug's like
not
an
the first
add-on
one.
gift for that one.
Or you could get the dice and the mug and make it like Yahtzee.
We're just trying the best of both worlds here.
Yeah.
Jay Lee, you got to look up this dice too.
Boy, I might do that. But well, guys, I think without Aaron, we did a pretty solid job.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for allowing me to host. It was a pleasure. It was fun. But anyway, guys, last but not least, don't forget to
Rake
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 your
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 position.
position.
position.